This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information and to find out how you can volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Thus Spoke Zarathustra by Friedrich Nietzsche, translated by Thomas Common, Part 4, Chapter 77. The Awakening, Section 1. After the song of the wanderer in shadow, the cave became all at once full of noise and laughter, and since the assembled guests all spake simultaneously, and even the ass, encouraged thereby, no longer remained silent, a little aversion and scorn for his visitors came over Zarathustra, although he rejoiced at their gladness, for it seemed to him a sign of convalescence. So he slipped out into the open air and spoke to his animals. "Whither hath their distress now gone?" said he. And already did he himself feel relieved of his petty disgust. "With me it seemeth that they have unlearned their cries of distress, though alas, not yet their crying." And Zarathustra stopped his ears, for just then did the ye-ah of the ass mix strangely with the noisy jubilation of those higher men. "They are merry," he began again, "and who knoweth? Perhaps at their host's expense. And if they have learned of me to laugh, still it is not my laughter they have learned. But what matter about that? They are old people, they recover in their own way, they laugh in their own way. Mine ears have already endured worse, and have not become peevish. This day is a victory, he already yieldeth, he fleeth, the spirit of gravity, mine old arch-enemy. How well this day is about to end, which began so badly and gloomily. And it is about to end. Already cometh the evening. Over the sea rideth it hither, the good rider. How it bobbeth, the blessed one, the home, returning one, in its purple saddles. The sky gazeth brightly thereon, the world lieth deep. O all ye strange ones who have come to me, it is already worth while to have lived with me. Thus spake Zarathustra. And again came the cries and laughter of the higher men out of the cave. Then began he anew. They bite at it, my bait taketh. There departeth also from them their enemy, the spirit of gravity. Now do they learn to laugh at themselves. Do I hear rightly? My virile food taketh effect, my strong and savoury sayings. And verily I did not nourish them with flatulent vegetables, but with warrior food, with conqueror food. New desires did I awaken. New hopes are in their arms and legs. Their hearts expand. They find new words. Soon will their spirits breathe wantonness. Such food may sure enough not be proper for children, nor even for longing girls, old and young. One persuadeth their bowels otherwise. I am not their physician and teacher. The disgust departeth from these higher men. Well, that is my victory, and my domain they become assured. All stupid shame fleeth away, they empty themselves, they empty their hearts, good times return unto them. They keep holiday and ruminate, they become thankful. That do I take as the best sign, they become thankful. Not long will it be ere they devise festivals, and put up memorials to their old joys. They are convalescents. Thus spoke Zarathustra joyfully to his heart, and gazed outward. His animals, however, pressed up to him, and honoured his happiness, and his silence. Section 2. All on a sudden, however, Zarathustra's ear was frightened, for the cave, which had hitherto been full of noise and laughter, became all at once still as death. His nose, however, smelt a sweet-scented vapour and incense odour, as if from burning pine cones. What happeneth? What are they about? He asked himself, and stole up to the entrance, that he might be able unobserved to see his guests. But wonder upon wonder! What was he then obliged to behold with his own eyes? They have all of them become pious again. They pray. They are mad, said he, and was astonished beyond measure. And forsooth, all these higher men, the two kings, the Pope out of service, the evil magician, the voluntary beggar, the wanderer in shadow, the old soothsayer, the spiritually conscientious one, and the ugliest man. They all lay on their knees like children and credulous old women, and worshipped the ass. And just then began the ugliest man to gurgle and snort, as if something unutterable in him tried to find expression. When, however, he had actually found words, behold, it was a pious, strange litany in praise of the adored and censed ass. And their litany sounded thus: Amen. And glory and honour, and wisdom and thanks, and praise and strength be to our God, from everlasting to everlasting. The ass, however, here brayed, Ye are. He carrieth our burdens, he hath taken upon him the form of a servant. He is patient of heart, and never saith nay, and he who loveth his God chastiseth him. The ass, however, here brayed, Ye are. He speaketh not, except that he ever saith yea to the world which he created. Thus doth he extol his world. It is his artfulness that speaketh not. Thus is he rarely found wrong. The ass, however, here brayed, Ye are. Uncomely goeth he through the world. Grey is the favourite colour in which he wrappeth his virtue. Hath he spirit? Then doth he conceal it. Every one, however, believeth in his long ears. The ass, however, here brayeth, Ye are. What hidden wisdom it is to wear long ears, and only to say yea, and never nay. Hath he not created the world in his own image, namely, as stupid as possible? The ass, however, here brayed, Ye are. Thou goest straight and crooked ways. It concerneth thee little what seemeth straight or crooked unto us men. Beyond good and evil is thy domain. It is thine innocence not to know what innocence is. The ass, however, here brayed, Ye are. Lo, how thou spurnest none from thee, neither beggars nor kings. Thou sufferest little children to come unto thee, and when the bad boys decoy thee, then sayest thou simply, Ye are. The ass, however, here brayed, Ye are. Thou lovest she-asses and fresh figs. Thou art no food despiser. A thistle tickleth thy heart when thou chancest to be hungry. There is the wisdom of a god therein. The ass, however, here brayed, Ye are. End of Part 4, Chapter 77. Read and recorded by Mark Lee.
This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information and to find out how you can volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read and recorded by Jerry Retief, Durban, South Africa, 11th September 2008. Thus Spoke Zarathustra by Friedrich Nietzsche, translated by Thomas Common. Part 4, Chapter 78. The Ass Festival. 1. At this place in the litany, however, Zarathustra could no longer control himself. He himself cried out, Yee-yah! Louder even than the ass, and sprang into the midst of his maddened guests. Whatever are you about, you grown-up children? He exclaimed, pulling up the praying ones from the ground. Alas, if anyone else except Zarathustra had seen you, everyone would think you the worst blasphemers, or the very foolishest old women, with your new belief. And thou thyself, thou old Pope, how is it in accordance with thee to adore an ass in such a manner as God? O Zarathustra, answered the Pope, forgive me, but in divine matters I am more enlightened even than thou, and it is right that it should be so. Better to adore God so in this form than in no form at all. Think over this saying, mine exalted friend. Thou wilt readily divine that in such a saying there is wisdom. He who said God is a spirit made the greatest stride and slide hitherto made on earth towards unbelief. Such a dictum is not easily amended again on earth. Mine old heart leapeth and boundeth, because there is still something to adore on earth. Forgive it, O Zarathustra, to an old pious pontiff heart. And thou, said Zarathustra to the wanderer and shadow, thou callest and thinkest thyself a free spirit, and thou here practisest such idolatry and hierolatry. Worse, verily, doest thou here than with thy bad brown girls, thou bad new believer. It is sad enough, answered the wanderer and shadow. Thou art right, but how can I help it? The old God liveth again, O Zarathustra. Thou mayst say what thou wilt. The ugliest man is to blame for it all. He hath reawakened him, and if he say that he once killed him with God's death, is always just a prejudice. And thou, said Zarathustra, thou bad old magician, what didst thou do? Who ought to believe any longer in thee in this free age, when thou believest in such divine donkeyism? It was a stupid thing that thou didst. How couldst thou, a shrewd man, do such a stupid thing? O Zarathustra, answered the shrewd magician, thou art right. It was a stupid thing. It was also repugnant to me. And thou even, said Zarathustra to the spiritually conscientious one, consider, and put thy finger to thy nose. Doth nothing go against thy conscience here? Is thy spirit not too cleanly for this praying and the fumes of those devotees? There is something therein, said the spiritually conscientious one, and put his finger to his nose. There is something in this spectacle which even doeth good to my conscience. Perhaps I dare not believe in God. Certain it is, however, that God seemeth to me most worthy of belief in this form. God is said to be eternal, according to the testimony of the most pious. He who hath so much time taketh his time, as slow and as stupid as possible. Thereby can such a one nevertheless go very far, and he who hath too much spirit might well become infatuated with stupidity and folly. Think of thyself, O Zarathustra. Thou thyself, verily, even thou, couldst well become an ass through superabundance of wisdom. Doth not the true sage willingly walk on the crookedest paths? The evidence teacheth it, O Zarathustra, thine own evidence. And thou thyself, finally, said Zarathustra, and turned towards the ugliest man, who still lay on the ground, stretching up his arms to the ass, for he gave it wine to drink. Say, thou nondescript, what hast thou been about? Thou seemest to be transformed. Thine eyes glow, the mantle of the sublime covereth thine ugliness. What didst thou do? Is it then true what they say, that thou hast again awakened him? And why? Was he not for good reasons killed and made away with? Thou thyself seemest to me awakened. What didst thou do? Why didst thou turn round? Why didst thou get converted? Speak, thou nondescript. O Zarathustra, answered the ugliest man, thou art a rogue. Whether he yet liveth, or again liveth, or is thoroughly dead, which of us both knoweth that best? I ask thee. One thing, however, do I know. From thyself did I learn it once, O Zarathustra. He who wanteth to kill most thoroughly laugheth. Not by wrath, but by laughter doth one kill. Thus spakest thou once, O Zarathustra. Thou hidden one, thou destroyer without wrath, thou dangerous saint, thou art a rogue. 2. Then, however, did it come to pass that Zarathustra, astonished at such merely roguish answers, jumped back to the door of his cave, and turning towards all his guests, cried out with a strong voice, "Oh, ye wags, all of you, ye buffoons! Why do you dissemble and disguise yourselves before me? How the hearts of all of you convulsed with delight and wickedness, because ye had at last become again like little children, namely, pious. Because ye at last did again as children do, namely, prayed, folded your hands, and said, Good God. But now leave, I pray you, this nursery, mine own cave, where today all childishness is carried on. Cool down, here outside your hot child wantonness and heart tumult. To be sure, except ye become as little children, ye shall not enter into that kingdom of heaven. And Zarathustra pointed aloft with his hands. But we do not at all want to enter into the kingdom of heaven. We have become men, so we want the kingdom of earth. 3. And once more began Zarathustra to speak. O my new friends, said he, ye strange ones, ye higher men, how well do ye now please me, since ye have again become joyful. Ye have verily all blossomed forth. It seemeth to me that for such flowers as you, new festivals are required. A little valiant nonsense, some divine service and ass festival, some old joyful Zarathustra fool, some blusterer to blow your souls bright. Forget not this night and this ass festival, ye higher men, that ye devise when with me, that do I take as a good omen, such things only the convalescents devise. And should ye celebrate it again, this ass festival, do it from love to yourselves, do it also from love to me, and in remembrance of me. Thus spake Zarathustra. End of Part 4, Chapter 78. Read and recorded by Jerry Retief, Durban, South Africa, 11th September 2008.
This is a LibriVox.org recording by Tim Sherman Chase. This recording is in the public domain. Thus Spake Zarathustra by Friedrich Nietzsche. Translated by Thomas Common. Part 4, Chapter 79. The Drunken Song. 1. Meanwhile one after another had gone out into the open air, and into the cool, thoughtful night. Zarathustra himself, however, led the ugliest man by the hand, that he might show him his night world, and the great round moon, and the silvery waterfalls near his cave. There they at last stood still beside one another, all of them old people, but comforted, brave hearts, and astonished in themselves that it was so well with them on earth. The mystery of the night, however, came nigher and nigher to their hearts, and anew Zarathustra thought to himself, Oh, how well do they now please me, these higher men! But he did not say it aloud, for he respected their happiness and their silence. Then, however, there happened that which in this astonishingly long day was most astonishing. The ugliest man began once more, and for the last time, to gurgle and snort. And when he had at length found expression, behold, there sprung a question plump and plain out of his mouth. A good, deep, clear question, which moved the hearts of all who listened to him. My friends, all of you, said the ugliest man, what think ye, for the sake of this day? I am for the first time content to have lived my entire life, and that I testify so much is still not enough for me. it is worthwhile living on earth one day, one festival with Zarathustra, hath taught me to love the earth. Was that life? Will I say unto death? Well, once more! My friends, what think ye? Will ye not, like me, say unto death, was that life? For the sake of Zarathustra, well, once more! Thus spake the ugliest man. It was not, however, far from midnight. And what took place then, think ye? As soon as the higher men heard this question, they became all at once conscious of their transformation and convalescence, and of him who was the cause thereof. Then did they rush up to Zarathustra, thanking, honouring, caressing him, kissing his hands, each in his own peculiar way, so that some laughed and some wept. The old soothsayer, however, danced with delight, and though he was then, as some narrators suppose, full of sweet wine, he was certainly still fuller of sweet life, and had renounced all weariness. There are then even those who narrate that the ass then danced, for not in vain had the ugliest man previously given it wine to drink. That may be the case, or it may be otherwise, and if in truth the ass did not dance that evening, there nevertheless happened then greater and rarer wonders than the dancing of an ass would have been. In short, as the proverb of Zarathustra saith, what doth it matter? 2. When, however, this took place with the ugliest man, Zarathustra stood there like one drunken, his glance dulled, his tongue faltered, and his feet staggered. And who could divine what thoughts then passed through Zarathustra's soul? Apparently, however, his spirit retreated and fled in advance, and was in remote distances, and as it were wandered on high mountain ridges, as it standeth written twixt two seas, wandering twixt the past and the future as a heavy cloud. Gradually, however, while the higher men held him in their arms, he came back to himself a little, and resisted with his hands the crowd of the honouring and caring ones, but he did not speak. All at once, however, he turned his head quickly, for he seemed to hear something. Then he laid his finger on his mouth and said, "Come!" And immediately it became still and mysterious round about. From the depth, however, there came up slowly the sound of a clock bell. Zarathustra listened thereto, like the higher men. Then, however, he laid his finger on his mouth the second time, and said again, "Come! Come! It is getting on to midnight!" And his voice had changed, but still he had not moved from the spot. Then it became yet stiller and more mysterious, and everything hearkened, even the ass, and Zarathustra's noble animals, the eagle and the serpent. Likewise the cave of Zarathustra, and the big cool moon, and the night itself. Zarathustra, however, laid his hand upon his mouth for a third time, and said, "Come! Come! Come! Now let us wander! It is the hour! Let us wander into the night!" 3. Ye higher men, it is getting on to midnight. Then will I say something into your ears, as the old clock bell saith it into mine ear, as mysteriously, as frightfully, and as cordially as the midnight clock bell speaketh it to me, which hath experienced more than one man, which hath already counted the smarting throbbings of your fathers' hearts. Ah, ah, how it sigheth! How it laugheth in its dream, the old, deep, deep midnight. Hush, hush. Then is there many a thing heard which may not be heard by day. Now, however, in the cool air, even in all the tumult of your hearts, hath become still. Now doth it speak, now is it heard. Now doth it steal into over wakeful nocturnal souls. Ah, ah! How the midnight sigheth, how it laugheth in its dream! Hearest thou not how it mysteriously, frightfully, and cordially speaketh unto thee, the old, deep, deep midnight? O man, take heed. 4. Woe to me! Whither has time gone? Have I not drunk into deep wells? The world sleepeth. Ah, ah! The dog howleth. The moon shineth. Rather will I die than say unto you what my midnight heart now thinketh. Already have I died. It is over. Spider, why spinnest thou around me? Wilt thou have blood? Ah, ah! The dew falleth, the hour cometh, the hour in which I froze and freeze, which asketh, and asketh, and asketh, who hath sufficient courage for it? Who is to be the master of the world? Who is going to say, thus shall ye flow, ye great and small streams? The hour approacheth. O man, thou higher man, take heed. This talk is for fine ears, for thine ears. What saith deep midnight's voice indeed? 5. It carried me away. My soul danceth. Day's work, day's work. Who is to be the master of the world? The moon is cool, the wind is still. Ah, ah! Have ye already flown high enough? Ye have danced. A leg, nevertheless, is not a wing. Ye good dancers, now is all delight over. Wine hath become lees, every cup hath become brittle, the sepulchres mutter. Ye have not flown high enough. Now do the sepulchres mutter, free the dead. Why is it so long night? Doth not the moon make us drunken? Ye higher men, free the sepulchres, awaken the corpses. Ah, why doth the worm still burrow? There approacheth the hour. There boometh the clock bell. There thrilleth still the heart. There burroweth still the woodworm, the heartworm. Ah, ah! The world is deep. 6. Sweet lyre, I love thy tone, thy drunken, ranunculine tone. How long, how far hath come unto me thy tone, from the distance, from the ponds of love, thou old clock bell, thou sweet lyre! Every pain hath torn thy heart, father pain, father's pain, forefather's pain. Thy speech hath become ripe, ripe like the golden autumn and the afternoon, like mine anchorite heart. Thou sayest thou, the world itself hath become ripe, the grape turned brown. Now doth it wish to die of happiness. Ye higher men, do you not feel it? There welleth up mysteriously an odour, a perfume and odour of eternity, a rose-blessed, brown, gold wine odour of old happiness, of drunken midnight death happiness, which singeth, the world is deep, and deeper than the day could read. 7. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. I am too pure for thee. Touch me not. Hath not my world just now become perfect? My skin is too pure for thy hands. Leave me alone, thou dull, doltish, stupid day. Is not the midnight brighter? Thy purest are to be the masters of the world, the least known, the strongest, the midnight souls. Who is brighter and deeper than any day? O day, thou gropest for me? Thou feelest for my happiness? For thee I am rich, lonesome, a treasure pit. a gold chamber? O world, thou wantest me? Am I worldly for thee? Am I spiritual for thee? Am I divine for thee? But day and world, ye are too coarse. Have cleverer hands grasped after deeper happiness, after deeper unhappiness? Grasp after some God, grasp not after me. Mine unhappiness, my happiness is deep. Thou strange day, but yet I am no God, no God's hell. Deep is its woe. 8. God's woe is deeper, thou strange world. Grasp at God's woe, not at me. What am I? A drunken sweet lyre, a midnight lyre, a bell-frog, which no one understandeth, but which must speak before deaf ones, ye higher men. For ye do not understand me. Gone, gone, O youth, O noontide, O afternoon. Now have come evening and night and midnight. The dog howleth, the wind. Is the wind not a dog? It whineth, it barketh, it howleth. Ah, ah! How she sigheth, how she laugheth, how she wheezeth and panteth, the midnight. How she just now speaketh soberly, this drunken poetess. Hath she not perhaps overdrunk her drunkenness? Hath she not become over-awake? Doth she ruminate? Her woe doth she ruminate over in her dream, the old deep midnight, and still more her joy. For joy, although woe be deep, joy is deeper still than grief can be. 9. Thou grapevine, why dost thou praise me? Have I not cut thee? I am cruel? Thou bleedest. What meaneth thy praise of my drunken cruelty? Whatever hath become perfect, everything mature wanteth to die, so sayest thou. Blessed, blessed be the Vintner's knife. But everything immature wanteth to live, alas. Woe saith, hence, go, away, thou woe. But everything that suffereth wanteth to live, that it must become mature and lively and longing. Longing for the further, the higher, the brighter. I want heirs, so saith everything that suffereth. I want children, I do not want myself. Joy, however, doth not want heirs, it doth not want children. Joy wanteth itself, it wanteth eternity, it wanteth reoccurrence, it wanteth everything eternally like itself. Woe saith, break, bleed, thou heart, wander, thou leg, thy wing, fly, onward, upward, thou pain. Well, cheer up, O my old heart. Woe saith, hence, go. 10. Ye higher men, what think ye? Am I a soothsayer? Or a dreamer? Or a drunkard? Or a dream reader? Or a midnight bell? Or a drop of dew? Or a fume and fragrance of eternity? Hear ye it not? Smell ye it not? Just now hath my world become perfect. Midnight is also midday. Pain is also a joy. Curse is also a blessing. Night is also a sun. Go away, or ye will learn that a sage is also a fool. Said ye ever yea to one joy? O my friends, then say ye yea also to all woe. All things are enlinked, enlaced, and enarmoured. Want ye ever once to come twice? Said ye ever, thou pleasest me happiness? Instant, moment, then wanted all ye all to come back again. All anew, all eternal, all enlinked, enlaced, and enarmoured. Oh, then did ye love the world, ye eternal ones, Ye loved it eternally, and for all time, and also unto woe did ye say, Hence, go, but come back, for all joys want eternity. 11. All joys wanteth the eternity of all things. It wanteth honey, it wanteth lees, it wanteth drunken midnight, it wanteth graves, it wanteth grave tears consolation, it wanteth gilded evening red. What doth joy not want? It is thirstier, heartier, hungrier, more frightful, more mysterious than all woe. It wanteth itself, it biteth into itself. The ring's will writeth in it. It wanteth love, it wanteth hate. It is over-rich, it bestoweth, it throweth away. It beggeth for someone to take away from it. It thanketh the taker. It would fain be hated. So rich is joy that it thirsteth for woe, for hell, for hate, for shame, for the lame, for the world, for this world. O ye know it indeed, ye higher men, for you doth it long, this joy, this irrepressible, blessed joy. For your woe, ye failures, for failures longeth all eternal joy. For joys all want themselves, therefore do ye also want grief. O happiness, O pain, O break thou heart, ye higher men, do learn it. The joys want eternity. Joy wanteth eternity of all things. They want deep, profound eternity. 12. Have ye now learned my song? Have ye divined what it would say? Well, cheer up, ye higher men. Sing now my roundelay. Sing now yourselves the song, the name of which is once more, the signification of which is unto all eternity. Sing, ye higher men, Zarathustra's roundelay. O man, take heed. What saith deep midnight's voice indeed? I slept my sleep, from deepest dream I woke and plead. The world is deep, and deeper than the day can read. Deep is its woe, joy, deeper still than grief can be. Woe saith, hence, go. But joys all want eternity. Want deep, profound eternity. End of Part 4, Chapter 79, The Drunken Song. This is a LibriVox.org recording by Tim Sherman Chase. This recording is in the public domain. Thus Spoke Zarathustra by Friedrich Nietzsche. Translated by Thomas Common. Part 4, Chapter 80. The Sign. In the morning, however, after this night, Zarathustra jumped up from his couch, and having girded his loins, he came out of his cave, glowing and strong, like a morning sun coming out of gloomy mountains. Thou great star, spake he, as he had spoken once before, thou deep eye of happiness, what would be all thy happiness, if thou hadst not those for whom thou shinest? And if they remained in their chambers whilst thou art already awake, and comest and bestowest and distributest, how would thy proud modesty upbraid for it? Well, they still sleep, these higher men, whilst I am awake. They are not my proper companions. Not for them do I await here in my mountains. At my work I want to be, at my day. But they understand not what are the signs of my morning. My step is not for them the awakening call. They still sleep in my cave, their dream still drinketh at my drunken songs. The ardent ear for me, the obedient ear, is lacking in their limbs. This had Zarathustra spoken to his heart when the sun rose. Then he looked inquiringly aloft, for he had heard above him the sharp call of his eagle. "Well," he called upwards, "thus it is pleasing and proper to me. Mine animals are awake, for I am awake. My eagle is awake, and like me honoureth the sun. With eagle talons does it grasp at the new light. Ye are my proper animals. I love you. But still do I lack my proper men." Thus spake Zarathustra. Then, however, it happened that all on a sudden he became aware that he was flocked around and fluttered around, as if by innumerable birds. The whizzing of so many wings, however, and the crowding around his head was so great that he shut his eyes. And verily there came down upon him, as it were a cloud, like a cloud of arrows, which poureth upon a new enemy. But behold, here it was a cloud of love, and showered upon a new friend. "What happened unto me?" thought Zarathustra in his astonished heart, and slowly seated himself on the big stone which lay close to the exit from his cave. But while he grasped around with his hands, around him, above him and below him, and repelled the tender birds, behold, there then happened to him something still stranger. For he grasped thereby unawares into a mass of thick, warm, shaggy hair. At the same time, however, there soundeth before him a roar, a long, soft, lion roar. "The sign cometh," said Zarathustra, and a change came over his heart. And in truth, when it turned clear before him, there lay a yellow, powerful animal at his feet, resting his head upon its knee, unwilling to leave him out of love, and doing like a dog which again findeth its old master. The doves, however, were no less eager with their love than the lion, and whenever a dove whisked over its nose, the lion shook its head, and wondered, and laughed. When all this went on, Zarathustra spoke only a word: "My children are nigh, my children." Then he became quite mute. His heart, however, was loosed, and from his eyes there dropped down tears and fell upon his hands. And he took no further notice of anything, but sat there motionless without repelling the animals further. Then flew the doves to and fro, and perched on his shoulder and caressed his white hair, and he did not tire of their tenderness and joyousness. The strong lion, however, licked always the tears that fell on Zarathustra's hands, and roared and growled shyly. Thus did the animals do. All this went on for a long time, or a short time, for properly speaking there is no time on this earth for such things. Meanwhile, however, the higher men awakened in Zarathustra's cave, and marshalling themselves for a procession to go to meet Zarathustra, and give him their morning greeting, for they had found, when they awakened, that he no longer tarried with them. When, however, they reached the door of the cave, and the noise of their steps preceded them, the lion started violently, and turned away all at once from Zarathustra, and roaring wildly, sprung towards the cave. The higher men, however, when they heard the lion roaring, cried all aloud as with one voice, fled back, and vanished in an instant. Zarathustra himself, however, stunned and strange, arose from his seat, looked around him, stood there astonished, inquiring of his heart, bethought himself, and remained alone. "What did I hear?" he said at last slowly. "What happened unto me just now?" But soon there came to him his recollection, and he took in at a glance all that had taken place between yesterday and today. "Here is indeed the stone," he said, and stroked his beard. "On it sat I yestermorn, and here came the soothsayer unto me, and here heard I first the cry which I heard just now, the great cry of distress. O ye higher men, your distress was it that the old soothsayer foretold to me yestermorn. Unto your distress did he want to seduce and tempt me. O Zarathustra, he said to me, I come to seduce thee to thy last sin. To my last sin? Cried Zarathustra, and laughed angrily at his own words. What hath been reserved for me as my last sin? And once more Zarathustra became absorbed in himself, and sat down again on the big stone and meditated. Suddenly he sprang up. Fellow suffering with the higher men, he cried out, and his countenance changed into brass. Well, that hath its time. My suffering and my fellow suffering, what matter about them? Do I then strive after happiness? I strive after my work. Well, the lion hath come, my children are nigh. Zarathustra hath grown ripe. Mine hour hath come. This is my morning. My day beginneth. Arise now. Arise, thou great noontide. Thus spake Zarathustra, and left his cave, glowing and strong, like a morning sun coming out of gloomy mountains. End of Thus Spake Zarathustra by Friedrich Nietzsche, translated by Thomas Common.